Alright, I'm Sovereign Sage and we're breaking things.
Unleash! It appears that we've been taken for intruders. This time, why not allow me to take care of this?
Is there another way to break it?
Now you shall perish! Illusion shattered!
Submit for judgment! One with my
Am
blade!
I supposed to be protecting it, I think? I thought maybe I was supposed to be trying to destroy it, I guess not. Didn't say protect, it said destroy.
There is no escape! Shine down!
Am I supposed to break this?
Manic core of the mechanism is exposed. Now's our chance.
Ah.
A touch of frost!
I'm gonna drop. Yep. The mechanism broken, the fog clears along with it. I can't. Okay, I caught her. I caught her, don't worry. She's alright.
Is everyone okay? The Celia's disappeared beneath the clouds again!
It looks like we need to go further down. But before that, let's destroy the guard mechanisms on this level first. Manifest!
I forgot I can go out of bounds because of the clouds. Like, I can step off the circle.
Inazuma shines eternal!
Forth, my blade!
Unleash!
Swift and merciful!
Oh my god. Oh.
Manifest! Do your master's bidding!
From whence you came! Forth, my blade!
Nice and spicy!
Shine down!
I'm stuck. I'm stuck.
Illusion!
Spirit blade! Attack!
Unleash! Obey!
Forth, my blade!
We're gonna fall! This time, we're really gonna fall! So high! Luckily, there was a pool of water at the bottom. Otherwise, that could have ended very differently.
He fell a lot
Hey!
faster.
The series on the move again! Let's catch up with it!
Oh my god. I wasn't too worried about it until I realized he was falling a lot faster when he got to the bottom. I was like, I can catch him, and then he was suddenly falling way faster.
Huh. Something looks different about this stone wall. Let's take a closer look.
Just touch it. Oh, is this a puzzle thing? That looks like the Geo symbol. Hold on. I thought maybe I could like... It's turning into Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Forest Temple where he pushes the blocks. How did I figure out how to do it? That's absurd. How did I guess I have a good sense of direction when it comes to games like this. What? Oh, hello, friends.
Unleash!
No.
Oh my god!
I like how I knew which one to go under when I actually didn't. I kind of just had a feeling, you know?
Torn to oblivion!
Psychic intellect kicking in again.
Environment divine! Manifest! Unleash! There is no escape!
He doesn't seem friendly.
Obey!
Swift and merciful.
Illusion shattered!
From whence you came.
There is no escape! Unleash!
Oh god.
One with my blade.
Nice and spicy.
Manifest!
Down.
Come on.
You freeze.
Forth my blade.
You will regret this! Shine down! Now you shall perish!
Spirit blade. Attack.
Cryo incarnate! Unleash!
Nice and spicy.
Swift and merciful.
Let's dance.
There is no escape!
Oh. Huh? No, no, shit. I was trying to pull up my other menu and it wouldn't let me. It's like, yo girl, you look kinda injured. Eat a pizza. I'm supposed to be following
Look,
it.
over there. Could that be the sunset vermilionite?
Looks like it. I don't think this is over quite yet. I destroyed that tree. Wow. How are we gonna carry it? Look at how big it is. Twice, it's like a giant meteor. Twice the size of my body.
Is this it? Is this the sunset vermilionite?
How many times are you going to say that?
It's so huge.
That's what she said. It needs to be big to get the whole Jade Chamber airborne. So is the Jade Chamber. Like, she's like, it's big. It's like, yeah, well, so is the Jade Chamber. I was just saying, well,
That's true. But then again, why isn't it floating?
Because it's not activated.
Prostrate doesn't float until it's activated.
I literally just
It
said
may
that.
look different from most ordinary stones, but it weighs around the same amount. Only after being activated does Prostrate reveal its true nature, breaking free from the shackles of the mortal realm and ascending up into the heavens.
Wow, Shenhe. You seem to know everything about this.
Only because my master is fond of chatting about these things. The moment she has some time to spare, she'll come straight for me and start telling story after story. I don't care for her stories most of the time. I certainly didn't expect them to ever come in handy like this.
I wonder who this master is.
Hold on a sec. Paimon just realized something. If we activate it here, there's no way we'll be able to get it back to the site, right? Heck, we'll be dragged up into the sky too! But if we don't activate it, how else are we gonna lift it? This rock must weigh well over 1,000 pounds, surely!
Don't worry. I can handle the weight quite easily.
Are you sure? Be careful!
Please don't worry. I'm well aware that a Prostrate sample this large must be highly valuable. I will be gentle with it and make sure it does not get damaged.
It's your safety you have to be careful of. Paimon meant you.
My safety.
That's right! Paimon's sure you can handle it and everything. But if something this heavy lands on you, you're gonna get yourself hurt, no matter who you are. You gotta be extra careful when lifting heavy objects. It's just common sense.
Is it now? Well then, thank you. I'll go on ahead with the Prostrate. Let's meet at the building site later.
Shenhe lifts up the Prostrate and leaves.
How is Shenhe able to carry the huge rock all by herself? Get that super strength much? We can't slow down yet. Let's go meet her at the building site.
I like how she took the main structure, but like there's like that little piece there, and this little piece here. Water. Oh! Oh no. I couldn't get him out of the water because when you complete a dungeon, there's certain things you can or can't do, and yeah, you can break it. You can break the game doing that. I better not do that. I was trying to make him swim and stuff and grab the ledge, and he just wouldn't. I had to make him literally walk up to the water and then jump out. But then again, the developers probably would have never expect anybody to actually step in that pond. I guess I'm an exception. I'm that one person that would say, let me get in there. Oh. Wow. It's pretty. The water, I mean. Anyway. Why was I so caught off guard by that? God, I'm such a girl. Well, it is pretty. Look at the flowers and the coloring. Wow, it's really... And then Changyin was there. That was kind of romantic, huh? He's like, meet me in the water. Oh, I'd meet you anywhere if I could.
Oh, protect us.
'Cause he means that much to me. It's within walking distance, but I suppose I could... Or teleport here and then fly down. Okay. Had a choke bit attack. I'm okay. I get those from time to time. Yeah, this place really does look a lot different. Oh god, I nearly died. Hey, when I get that, where you just start choking uncontrollably. It's like the dryness and the mucus inside the throat. I get that quite a bit. Woo! Whoa, 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 whoa. I hope he didn't die because I couldn't catch him on that
Oh
drop.
my god, I can't believe my eyes.
Why was that line delivered like that?
How can she lift that massive rock all by herself? She's gotta be one of those Adepti, surely.
Well, she is.
Oh, mighty Adeptus, please give me your blessing, so that in the coming year I may reap a more bountiful salary.
This is top tier in size and quality, and the condition it's in is quite simply immaculate. Congratulations! This item is approved for submission. I'm going to award you full marks for the Sunset Vermilionite item. May I take your name?
My name isn't important. I'm not even here to compete. I was just delivering this for some other people. They should be here any minute now.
Shenhe! And Penguin's little helper!
Ah, so you're the ones behind this. No wonder. The rarest talent turns in the rarest plastrite specimen. But I have to correct you on one point. It's not helper, it's secretary.
Okay then, Miss Secretary, what do you think of the rook we found? Pretty amazing, right?
In truth, it is the finest piece of plastrite we have received so far. If everything goes according to plan, we will use this piece in the foundation of the Jade Chamber, which will enable us to proceed to the next stage of construction. As a side note, Lady Ningguang has rented some dwellings in the nearby area to serve as accommodations for the contestants. If you need a place to rest, you are welcome to stay there. Now, please excuse me. As you can see, there is still a lot of work to do on the building site.
Okay.
Shenhe! Just now on the way over, pretty much everyone was singing your praises!
Oh, really?
What kind of reaction is that? So strange. Aren't you happy about it?
She's like, no.
Whenever Paimon gets praised, Paimon can't help but hold her head up high and break into a big smug smile.
Well, that's not the way an Adeptus is, so.
I've had similar compliments before. They call me an Adeptus, treat me with great deference and respect, as if I'm set apart from the common folk.
Yeah, 'cause that's how Adepti are. At least the ones we've met are pretty unique and reclusive, too. Way different than normal people.
But I am not...
Shenhe?
Are you alright?
I'm fine. I've been exerting myself quite a lot ever since we set foot in that abode. I'm just a little fatigued.
Well, Byron said that there are some makeshift hotels we can use, right? Let's go check in and take a rest.
No need. I simply need to find myself a secluded place in the wilderness to sit and meditate in silence.
You can't do that. It's dangerous out in the wild on your own. When you're hungry, you go and eat something tasty. And when you're tired, you go lie down in a nice, comfy bed. Alright? Seriously, don't punish yourself like this.
Paimon is right. Guess the combinations are far more comfortable than the wilderness. Man, I'm still trying to get over that horrible choke attack. My voice is super fucked. Guess accommodations are far from comfortable than the wilderness. Paimon is right. Well, she says she likes being out in the wilderness. It's peaceful to her. I don't want to offend her by saying it's more comfortable than that, so I'll just say, yeah, she's right.
Okay. If you insist.
Great! Now we're talking. Let's head to our hotel.
Oh my god. Gee, he almost tripped on nothing. What the? He did it again. Chongyun, what is going on? He's like, this just in. I can't walk. Oh my god, are you serious? Okay.
I ride on wind and cloud alike.
Alright. God, that choke attack. I get like that quite a bit. Freaking ginkgo leaves everywhere.
Checking in, are we? You're just in time. We only have 2 rooms left. Since this was chosen as the building site for the new Jade Chamber, we've had a constant stream of people in this area. And not just workers either. Visitors, business people, tea sellers, all sorts. So, business is booming for me today. Very few vacancies. You're lucky you got here when you did.
Great!
One of your rooms is still being cleaned. I guess it should be ready within the hour. The other room is just at the door on the left. Here are your keys. All right. Hope you enjoy your stay. Please excuse me, I'll leave you to it.
Shenhe, you should go get some rest. We'll hang around outside until the other room's ready. Paimon's gonna go see if there's anything good to eat around here. Paimon couldn't help but notice one of the guests walked in with a huge grilled chicken drumstick before. Let's buy one for Shenhe too. She can have it as a midnight snack. Or save it for breakfast tomorrow.
All right. I will head to my room for now. If you need anything, don't hesitate to disturb me. I'm a light sleeper. I will hear if you knock on the door.
Alright, have a good rest then.
Mm-hmm. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Hey! Isn't that Labratina? What's she doing here? Let's go and say hi.
She's like, let me be super loud as I descend on the mountain. Like, what the hell was that? Alright, fine. Still suffering from my chug attack. Ow.
One trusts you have met Shenhe. So, are you getting along quite well?
I guess.
So far, so good. Yeah. So, you know Shenhe too, Labratina?
Naturally. Save for Ganyu, who spends the majority of her time in Liyue Harbor. All the Adepti living today are acquainted with Shenhe to some degree.
Cool. So, what's her Adeptus name anyway?
Crane something.
Calling her Shenhe feels kind of friendly, but also kind of disrespectful. So Paimon's thinking maybe it'd be better if we called her by her Adeptus name instead.
Her Adeptus name? Why, pray tell, would Shenhe have an Adeptus name?
Don't all Adepti have a special title they go by?
On this latter point, you are correct. However, Shenhe is human.
Oh, right. Wait, what?
I thought so.
What? You knew already? So is Paimon the only one who didn't know?
Do you mean to say that she presents differently from ordinary human beings?
Well, to start with, her problem-solving methods are extremely direct.
Ah, yes. She was like this all those years ago when one first met her. In this respect, she has not changed. One first found Shenhe by chance in a cave. One was passing by and sensed the presence of a god's remains. Being of an ever-vigilant disposition, one entered immediately to inspect the scene. Inside was Shenhe, then aged around 6 years old. In her hand, she held a dagger with which she was confronting a monster that was the god's remains incarnate.
That sounds so dangerous.
When one arrived, she had already been locked in confrontation with this monster for several days. Most mortal children are fragile, both physically and mentally, and are highly reliant on their parents for survival. But not so her. That she was able to endure such terrible danger was due not only to her strong willpower, but also to the bloodlust and homicidal instinct with which she was born. One dealt with the monster, yet she still refused to lower her guard. She even pointed her dagger in one's direction and remained ready to strike. Only after she was satisfied that one had no intention to cause her harm did she finally relent. She then passed out without uttering a single word.
In other words, If you hadn't passed by that day, Shenhe might have...
Not necessarily. Upon one's arrival, one could sense that the god's wrath was gradually receding. Even had the stalemate continued, one suspects that Shenhe may have still emerged the victor of the confrontation.
That's still so dangerous, though. Why was a tiny little kid battling against the wrath of a god in the first place?
Alas, the mortal world is rife with suffering of every kind. And she had experienced her fair share of this, even at a tender age. Seeing that she was homeless, one decided to adopt her.
So when Shenhe talks about her master, she means...
Indeed, it is one to whom she refers. Shenhe has an extraordinary constitution, making her well adapted to practicing the Adepti arts. All the Adepti cherished her talents, and so we were willing to train her. However, her homicidal urges did not subside with age. Rather, they grew stronger day by day. Mooncarver once performed a divination for her. He declared that her fate is to bear the curse of calamity. Consumed by malevolent energy, she is prone to bring harm to those around her. Such is the magnitude of the danger this poses, that her soul must be bound with red ropes to keep her homicidal instinct at bay. The red ropes have indeed served to keep her calmer and more content. They also seem to have rendered her somewhat inexpressive. Perhaps the red ropes are so powerful that they have suppressed some of her other emotions as well. It is only by fate that people's paths may cross. Now that Shenhe's path has crossed with yours, please be sure to treasure the gift that fate has given you, and take good care of her.
Oh, now Paimon gets it. You came out here to check up on Shenhe because you were worried about her, didn't you?
Huh. You dare draw such a facile conclusion on the nature of one's present excursion? Incorrect. The truth is that while Liyue Harbor may seem peaceful today, danger is always lurking in the shadows. Ningguang once made a bold assertion that this is to be the era of the contract between Liyue and the humans. Well, one is most curious to observe how she will respond to the coming storm. If she handles it admirably, one is willing to be a witness to her achievements. But if she does not, the Adepti shall not hesitate to seize control. Let us conclude our conversation here for today. One has occupied enough of your time, and night is approaching. Be sure to get ample rest.
Oh my god.
So, Shenhe isn't an Adeptus after all. She just grew up around the Adepti. Oh, no wonder she doesn't like being treated as an Adeptus. Having everyone falling over themselves to show their respect all the time must be kind of hard to deal with.
There seem to have been a growing number of tales told regarding Shenhe in recent years. Perhaps she was seen on the previous occasion when she secretly ventured out from the mountains. One has heard that a playwright in Liyue Harbor wrote an opera based on the legends told about her. It is called The Divine Damsel of Devastation. The play portrays her as making a stand to protect her fellow villagers. One can only surmise that every story needs a hero. There seem to have been a growing number of... One has heard the play portray...
Okay. Wait until... okay. Oh, I almost had it. Shit.
Master has relayed my situation to you, I take it.
Yeah, so she snuck out at night and we saw her.
Oh? How did you know?
I'd intended to wait until you came back before going to sleep, but I didn't hear you come in. I was worried that something may have happened to you. So I went outside to check and caught sight of my master. On top of this, you have been acting very strangely around me this morning, causing me to suspect that my master must have told you everything about me. After all, master is very talkative.
Sorry, Shenhe. Paimon had you down as an adeptus this whole time, but it turns out Paimon was wrong.
It's okay. I don't mind. The fault is mine for not explaining everything to you sooner, because in my experience, trying to explain is a futile pursuit. Still, though you mistook me for an adeptus, you never treated me as distant and unapproachable. Instead, you treated me as you would a friend.
Because I'm already friends with magical creatures as well as gods. The fact that you are such thing doesn't really matter to me. All that matters is that you are you.
For this, I am very grateful indeed.
To be fair, we've met our fair share of
Real Adepti too.
Anyway, now it's settled. From now on, you're a friend. Whether you're an adeptus or a human isn't the important thing. First and foremost, we're just plain old friends.
Agreed.
Got it. Although I don't know quite what it entails in terms of what I have to do, I must say I like the title friend very much indeed.
Great! Well, now that we're all rested up, we should start searching for the other 2 items on the list. But before we do that, let's go to the building site and ask Ningguang's little helper how the progress is going. After all, sunset vermilionite is so rare. Paimon doubts many competitors will really be able to find any. If it turns out some of them have given up already, we'll be able to take things a little more slowly.
Maybe.
Oh, and another thing, we bought some grilled chicken drumsticks on the way back last night. There was a place just outside. Here's one for you, Shenhe. Try it. They're so good.
Please, just grab one.
I concur. It has a rich flavor, far more agreeable than those I've cooked for myself in the wilderness in the past.
Holy crap, it's that built already? Really? What? It was... Well, somebody's working fast. Damn thing's already afloat. Look at how big it is. Holy shit. Is that Beto?
Look! The Jade Chamber is floating into the sky! But it seems to be tied down by something.
That's because it's not finished.
Hey, Violet!
It is.
Hey, Beto! And hey! Person Paimon doesn't know?
Yunjin.
Given the enormous scale of the Jade Chamber, we split the construction work into 2 phases to make sure the structure remains balanced. Before we find some suitable plastrite, we build the Jade Chamber's keel at ground level. Once the plastrite is ready, we place it into the keel and let the partially constructed Jade Chamber rise up to the height of the surrounding mountain peaks. The remainder of the construction work is then carried out at that altitude. Once everything is ready, we release the iron tethers and allow the Jade Chamber to rise to its target altitude.
Miss Bywin, we've brought some new materials to submit.
One moment, I'll be right there. The construction work has only been able to progress this rapidly thanks to the plastrite provided by you. Lady Ningguang is most grateful and looks forward to seeing more of your work.
Wow, can't believe you sourced the plastrite so quickly. It's the key piece of the puzzle. Looks like you beat us to the punch.
Damn right! Didn't know you were participating.
Beto? You're joining the Jade Chamber contest too?
Sure am. I happened to get my hands on a chunk of sunset vermilionite on a voyage a while back, so I figured I'd bring it over.
Huh. So even though it's rare, we're not the only ones who managed to get a hold of it.
Oh, I've got some introductions to do. This is the renowned Miss Yun, or Yunjin, probably the most famous figure in the Lyra opera scene.
Greetings.
These 2 are Paimon and the Traveler, both good buddies of mine. And this is... sorry, not sure we've met.
Shenhe. I am there. Friend.
Good to meet you. A friend of a friend is my friend too. Or, as I like to say, a mate of a crewmate is part of the crew. Miss Yoon is also here for the contest. Turns out she needed to borrow a boat, so we came together.
It's an honor to finally meet you both. I've heard much about you. Miss Shenhe, though we are only meeting for the first time, I have a feeling that we will get along very well indeed.
I need to look at what her voice actress is, because it almost sounds like Kokomi's, and I'm not sure.
To be honest with you all, I am in great need of this opportunity to ask Lady Ningguang a question. That's why I joined the contest. Thanks to my father's connections, I was able to acquire a specimen of the plaustrite required. Fortunately, it was approved for submission, despite being a little on the diminutive side. Wow! So it looks like the three of us are competitors now! Excuse me for prying, Miss Shenhe, but are you competing as well?
No, I don't have any questions for Ningguang. I just wanted to help her win.
You did? You do? What?
In that case, I have a proposal to make. Lady Ningguang said that the first 3 contestants to procure all 3 materials will be awarded the chance to ask a question. Well, there are 3 teams here. We can split the prize between us. Instead of competing against each other, we could work together to secure the top 3 places between us. What do you think?
I don't know about that.
Sounds great, but how does it change things exactly?
I think I see where you're going with this, Miss Yoon. The plaustrite was the most difficult item to source by a long shot. Luckily, all 3 of us managed to get our hands on it. The 2 remaining items aren't quite so rare, so as long as one of us finds a way to source it, the other 2 can hop on the bandwagon. How'd I do? Is that what you had in mind?
Precisely.
It's almost like cheating. Like if one person finds it, we just give it to the others. And it kind of feels like you're taking credit for somebody else's work.
Huh. Interesting approach.
Okay then. All right. I'll go first. I have some leads on these wonder cores. From what I've heard, the core itself is really not that difficult to make. The hard part is getting hold of the ore used as raw materials. I'm gonna head back to the ship and ask Suling if he's heard of him. You guys...
We will head into town and seek advice from Master Zhang of Hanfeng's Ironmongers. Thoughts?
Sounds good.
Wonderful. We'll split into teams then, and whoever makes progress first brings all of us a step closer to victory. I'm gonna take off. See you later.
Walks away.
Okay, let's go!
I like how the ground in the background just like blip loaded.
By the way, what question are you gonna ask Ningguang Yunjin? I'm looking for a venue to host the performance of our new opera. Lady Ningguang has excellent judgment, so I would like to hear her opinion. Ooh, what's the opera called? Paimon wants to go see it.
I can't tell if those tassels hanging off are part of her hat or actually part of her hair. I want to say it's part of her hair, now that I actually look at it, because the little red tassels are actually tied to her hair, and you could tell where the hat separates, so I think it's actually really her hair.
The opera is a labor of love by my father. He wrote it based on a popular urban legend about an evil spirit and an adeptus.
Oh, it's based on her.
It's called The Divine Damsel of Devastation.
Uh-oh. We had literally just heard that from Cloud Runner. Oh! Every time I hear Cloud Retainer, or I hear Cloud Runner, and that's from Star Fox Adventures, and they can't use that because I think that's copyrighted. The Cloud Runner was like these bird creatures, and yeah, all right. Keep having to make it run. It's absurd. Oh yeah, it's the guy over here, right? Hold on a minute. Touch the freaking pot, put your hands upon it. Ooh. I hate, like, you can hear me clicking it. Oh my god, my knee. I hate when my controller does that. Like, you can only fiercely hear me clicking it. I like how Cloud Retainer is like, she's homicidal, and like, we didn't say anything. Basically saying she could go out and like massacre a bunch of people and not care, and we're just like trotting around with her, having known that. How the fuck are we okay with that? Seriously. Like, here's this person who has suicidal murder tendencies, but hanging out with them. Go hang out with them anyway. Well, I'm one of those people that try to understand people. I don't really try to judge them based on a condition. I really try to understand it, see how it affects them. Can't just point a finger at somebody because they have something like that, because, you know, you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you.
Try something new at the one-man restaurant.
What the fuck? I must steal all the meats. Man, they really need to add that menu where you can put in the number, because I hate having to hit the R2 button every time. You could just hold it down, but it's slow and I hate it. It would be so much easier if you could input the number from this menu. Like when you go to cook things, they give you a little menu to input. I don't know why I can't do that here. It really doesn't make any sense when you think about it. It's absurd. Having to hold it down or click it, it takes time, especially when you're buying like a bunch of items. It's like can't this be faster? Like, jeez. It's kind of a little absurd. I think, do I automatically learn it, or do I have to teach it to myself? No, I have to teach it. I have to teach it. Oh. Don't know why I did that. Burn myself alive. It's like this. You can go like this, and then go like this, and then like this. See how much easier it is to like input a number of what you want versus like holding down a damn button. You could just go like this. That's why I wish they would add that on all menus when you go to buy stuff. So I really hate that. I hate having to hold the button down versus just hitting a damn button, because it's so much faster. I don't know why they didn't do that. Okay. I think I know what happened. It was supposed to be 10, but it didn't work. The number got reversed. Hey, when it gets locked on me, like I'll be trying to move it, and it actually gets locked and I can't move it. You can like only hear me like fiercely like clicking on the stick, and it just doesn't mean anything. Damn, did you hear what that lady said? She's like, Leeway, you disappoint me. Like, what?
Hello. Are you here for something off the shelf, or do you need something forged?
Excuse me, Master John. We were wondering if you'd heard of something called a Wonder Core.
Of course I have. Sorry, who's asking?
My name is Yunjin. Perhaps you don't know me, but I believe that you forged some weaponry for my father in the past, for stage use.
Yunjin? Stage use? Oh, so you must be Miss Yoon. Sorry, my brain's finally caught up. It's not used to doing much beyond bashing a hammer all day. Everyone's heard of you, Miss Yoon. Even folks who don't make it to the opera all that often. Like myself. So, you're here to ask about wonder cores, huh? As it happens, I do know how to make them. Matter of fact, I made some for Lady Ningguang back when she was building the original Jade Chamber. The types of ore needed to make wonder cores are a little hard to come by. Lady Ningguang supplied them herself last time. I don't suppose you've brought any yourselves?
No, we were gonna ask you what kinds of ore we need.
Sure. Well, you'll need two kinds. Star Splinter Iron and Subrosium.
Oh god, that other one, I don't know.
If I remember correctly, Lady Ningguang sourced her Star Splinter Iron from the Mount Tianheng area. They say it resonates with visions. It could take some work, but if you stick with it, you'll find some eventually. As for the Subrosium, though, that's trickier. It's all but unheard of on the market.
Then where do we start as I continue to stand with my hand extended?
I'm really not sure. Sorry. What I've heard is that the people around Mount Tianheng have some sort of magic trick that can pinpoint the location of the stuff. Of course, it's probably just hearsay. If you want my advice, start by looking for Star Splinter Iron around Mount Tianheng. And if you run into any locals, ask them a few questions about Subrosium.
Mount Tianheng.
Interestingly enough, the story of the divine damsel of devastation also takes place on that mountain.
Because it's a freaking about her, about when she was locked in a deadlock with that remains of a god when she was like 6 years old or 5.
I hear the view there is quite spectacular. A favorite destination of the Adepti, in fact. Perhaps it can give me some inspiration. Let's not delay. We should head straight there.
As the lighting randomly comes on. Funnily enough, it's not like my real name or anything, but some of my cousins, I have one cousin that calls me Leisha as a nickname. So when I hear it, I'm like, huh? I'm actually really serious, so it's funny. You even spell it the same way too. Lisha.
I came to Mount Tianheng once with my father as a child. I remember it being such a long climb that I could barely feel my legs by the time we reached the top.
So, originally Shenhe she was found by a Cloud Retainer, who found her in a cave fighting off a monster that happened to be the reincarnation of a god's remains, and she was on a standstill with the monster for days, and she was supposedly only 6 years old trying to fight it with a dagger. And I bet you us going back to this place is going to trigger her memories, because they also said that she has a weird spirit that causes her to be really, like, murder-esque, that she's incredibly homicidal. So, I wonder if taking her back here is going to cause her to freak out. I wonder if that's where the story is leading.
This is quite a trip down memory lane for me. Look at these majestic, towering peaks, and the gently flowing streams. It's like setting foot in paradise. No wonder the legend of the divine damsel of devastation is said to have taken place here. Adepti wander oft, where mortals seldom stride. Indeed, this looks like a place that one might expect to be frequented by Adepti.
The divine damsel of devastation is your upcoming opera, right? And the story takes place in Mount Tianheng. Huh. Seems like you have a real connection with this place. What's the story of that, though?
It's the story of a girl becoming a hero.
Cool. A hero story? They're Paimon's favorite!
I can't believe that Paimon just forgot that Cloud Retainer told us a story about Shenhe that's actually real, that was based on her, and Paimon just forgot everything.
The legend first arose in this area. It is said that there used to be a prosperous village on the mountain. In that village, there was a loving couple who were completely devoted to one another. One day, a terrifying monster appeared. The wife was out collecting herbs and was captured by the monster. Her husband was so distraught at the news that it broke his spirit and drove him to madness. The vile and vicious monster told the villagers, "If you want to live, You must sacrifice a child to me.
What a nasty piece of work! Paimon sure hopes this monster gets put in its place!
But the monster was so terrible and so strong that all within the village were terrified of it. They had no choice but to give in to the monster's demand. Just while they were discussing whose child would be given over to the monster, a little girl suddenly stood up and came forward.
No! Don't do it, little girl!
Unbeknownst to anybody else, she was concealing an exorcist's blade. She approached the monster's lair, feigning fear and trepidation. When she finally arrived, she courageously drew her sword and entered into a fierce struggle with the monster, from which she eventually emerged as the victor.
I like how they call it a dagger and then immediately go to call it a sword and then they call it a blade. They need to make up their mind what it is, because a dagger is not a sword. But a sword and a dagger both are blades, so whatever.
Her extraordinary abilities drew the attention of the Adepti, and they took her as one of their own. Her story became the stuff of legends. But alas, the paths of mortals and Adepti seldom cross, and she would never again re-enter the mortal world. And so, destined to grace the mortal realm for but a brief moment, she vanished like a wisp of smoke into thin air. That's how the opera ends.
So I can choose to remain silent or look at Shenhe, because we already know the story is about her. But I don't know if I want to make it obvious, because I think she knows that I know.
I really like this story. But I personally think that perhaps the little girl was not as brave as the opera makes her out to be. I'm not sure she deserves all the praise she is given.
I've never considered that before. Opera is always an interpretation of the events it purports to portray. A certain degree of deviation from the truth is always inevitable. When my father wrote the script for this play, I suppose his intention was to inspire his audience with the character of the divine damsel.
I think it's a great story. The ideal story.
Well, it sure inspired Paimon! Let's go get ourselves some Star Splinter Iron! Yeah!
Oh my god. It should be low. I don't think it would be high. What the hell was that? There's something making a noise. What is that? Oh. It gives off a noise? I guess that's... Oh, that's easy to find it then.
I ride on wind and cloud alike.
This should be enough Star Splinter Iron! Now we just need to find that Symposium!
I think I saw a village on our way here. Master John said we should ask the locals for help. Why don't we try there?
Hey, there's a Celia up there. Watch us be the village and watch them remember her.
Hey! There really is someone here! Yunjin, looks like you were right! Excuse us, sir. Can we ask you something? Huh. He didn't seem to catch that.
Hello, sir. We were just passing by and wanted to ask if you happen to know anything about Sybrosium.
Is he trying to tell us to look for clues in the village? Well, whatever. Guess we're on our own here. Shenhe, Yunjin, let's have a look around.
Sorry, you can go ahead without me. I'd like to have a word with this gentleman. If that's okay with you, Uncle Mingjin.
It's...
Shenhe.
Shenhe. You're alive. The rumors were true. So, all these years? I'm sorry, I don't know how to find Sybrosium. but I think you can find some information in the village. This place is deserted now. No one ever comes here. So you can rummage around all you want.
Huh? You know this guy, Shenhe?
She literally just called him uncle.
Thank you, kind sir. We'll go and take a look around. Don't worry. Mingjun has no ill intention towards Miss Shenhe. She'll be quite safe.
Okay, then let's see what we can find in this village.
Talk to her again.
I came back here once before, a few years ago. Alone. I hid it from Master at the time. It was deserted then, too. Except for a few low-life bandits. Everyone and everything I remembered was long gone. But as people were passing by, they stopped to admire me. They praised me, telling me I gave off the aura of an adeptus. I tried explaining to them that I wasn't an adeptus, just an ordinary person who came from this village. But no one believed me. When I saw how run down all these houses were, I felt at a loss. It was like I took a look at the world, and on the surface, it looked like a vast realm with so many places I could go. Then I looked a little closer, and there was nowhere for me to go at all.
Suddenly, so much time has gone by. Everything has changed.
Last time I visited, I felt so upset. But today, I don't know why, but it feels different.
It is easy for your mind to run wild when you are alone. But this time, you are with your friends, aren't you?
Yes, my friends.
Just hit it. Maybe it's not here, maybe it's up. Ah. A branch family of exorcists
The
used to live in
remains
the
of a god.
Oh my
An
god.
abandoned village. Mount Tianheng.
Please stop. A branch family of exorcists used to live in the east of the village, but in around 2 weeks the mother died of disease, the young daughter went missing, and shortly after, the father hanged himself on a tree in the yard of his own house. It has been confirmed that traces of an evil god's remains were found in the village. The villagers are panicking, as no one is certain whether the evil god's remains are gone for good. Do be careful when you are in this area. And then what she said, the remains of a god in an abandoned village.
Does this mean that the true story of the divine damsel of devastation happened right here, in this village?
Yes, it really did. And the girl that you're looking for is really Shenhe.
The time frame certainly matches, so it seems we're in the right area. Let's keep looking around.
How convenient.
It was worth the trouble.
Are you sure about that?
Huh. What's this?